Hello and welcome to round 5 with Thalia Stompy here today on August 17th, 2019 is the date of recording. It's a Saturday. And we're going for the 5-0. We are 4-0. We've lost one game to Mono Red Phoenix in the last round. In game 1 we lost, but otherwise all wins. So we're going for the trophy. I always get a little nervous in round 5 going for the trophy, even though it doesn't really matter. You already made your money back and did pretty well. But it's just nice to get up on that trophy board. And 5-0 is just so much sweeter than 4-1. This hand is definitely a mulligan. And so is this one, unfortunately. This one has turn 1 chalice, so we're going to keep this. And we're going to put 2 cards at the bottom. I guess we probably want plains in case they're a burn deck over Sunbaked Canyon. Gemstone Caverns happens to be our only colorless source, but we have so many colorless sources in the deck that I'm not that worried about not finding one for a turn 4 Thought Knots here or turn 5 Reality Smasher. We need a lot of help to cast those anyway. So I think we're going to put the Gemstone Caverns and one of the Sunbakes on the bottom. And then we're just going to turn 1 chalice and hope that it's good. So Mold of 5, turn 1 chalice could just be insane. Could do nothing. But it could be impossible for them to beat. So it's kind of an interesting one. Alright, so it's Hardened Scales. Turn 1 chalice is good against them, but not unbeatable. So Hardened Scales I do think is a more difficult matchup than our last 4 rounds. I do think this is going to be a tough fight here. Walking Ballista is a hell of a card against us. Their hand might just be all Ancient Stirrings and Hardened Scales, though. But generally, they play a lot of creatures that cost XX. And those will make it difficult. Looks like they didn't have any of them here, though. Thought not. Alright. Well, if we draw a Temple, we're in good shape. Or just any colorless source at this point, because we can just exile the Spirit Guide to cast a Thought Knot. And I think Thought Knot's going to be pretty powerful on this board. It's hard for them to kill a 4/4 without access to their 1 mana spells. Definitely not cracking this Canyon. This is obviously the downside to mulling to 5, but we had to. I mean, we had 1 land in our opener, and then 0 lands in our next hand, so Mull to 5 it was. I do think mulliganing is more important now that the London mulligan has been implemented. I think before it's still pretty important to mulligan aggressively in grafted onto a Walking Ballista. Yeah, this is the card that I was exactly talking about as something that's pretty difficult to deal with. Dismember helps here, but now they have 3 lands and they can start doing more busted things. And I mean, I don't know. I don't hate the Dismember. I like that they took the 2 extra damage there, because I believe, well, we can just Dismember on their turn. Doesn't really matter. Oh. Guess we can hold the Dismember. Yeah, let's just get more information. This makes Dismember cost us less life anyway. And if they want to pump it, here we can respond so they can't pump it up. Although, maybe that's their only play is to just pump it up. In which case, we could just wait. Yeah, I think just taking 1 extra damage is not a big deal. If they do want to pump. But they probably know we have Dismember because we were playing a little bit slower. Just going to take this one. And they're probably just going to hit for 1. But I'm not worried about that 1 damage too much. Another Walkie Bee. Okay, that's annoying. So if this was silent clearing, we'd still be at 15, but it's not a big difference. Yeah, the more walking ballistas they draw here, the worse things are for us. Thalia is not great against this deck in general. Thought Knots here is fine. Oof. Alright, well at least this makes them use the Walking Ballista, one of the hits on Thalia. Not drawing very well this game, although our opener was fine, even though it was 5 cards. Just happened to be a matchup that can play around Chalice on 1 decently well. Chalice is still good against them. Like, they play Hardened Scales, they play Arcbound Worker, they play, yeah. Jeez, that was a good turn. That was a good turn. I think we can just scoop here. Shouldn't have played the Plains, actually. Should have cracked the Canyon. Could just cast Simian Spirit Guide. No. I don't think we can win from here. Not really that interested in playing it out. So Wear Tear is great. And Rest in Peace and Stony are great. Worship, they have trouble interacting with. Arbiter's weak. Thalia's pretty weak. I wonder if we cut all the Thalias and we play Worship. They can get around Worship because they can kill us with Inkmoth Nexus. Could also cut all the Thalias and just play all the Rest in Pieces, which, I don't know, might be good enough. Since we have a decent amount of removal, and if they can't do like a swift combo kill, then it might just be worth it. Because if we can Chalice on 1, they can't kill our Rest in Pieces or our Stony Silences or anything. And so I guess the game plan is just Chalice on 1, Rip and Stony, Wear Tear their Hardened Scales or whatever. And can also trim a Gemstone Caverns on the play here. And maybe, get rid of the Thalias. I guess we could play a Worship. Since we have 2 Dismembers and 4 Ghost Quarters for their 4 Inkmoth Nexuses, which are their only way around Worship if we have Chalice on 1, seems okay. Also, Hazaret doesn't seem terrible. We could leave 1 Arbiter in for the potential, maybe 1 Arbiter over Worship on the play. I don't know for sure, but I'm going to try full hate piece, since the Arbiters and the Thalias are very bad in this matchup anyway, so even though the rest of the cards we brought in are kind of clunky and weird, I think it's still fine. So turn 1 Chalice on 1, and then we have Wear Tear. I think this hand's fine. Because turn 1 Chalice on 1 shuts them down pretty good, and then the 2 Wear Tears should be able to buy us enough time for Reality Smasher to start getting them going. And we have red mana for the Wear Tears, so we're in good shape there too. But yeah, we're down a game here. Mill to 5, kept a Thalia Chalice hand. Chalice was good, Thalia was not. And that's kind of the difference in game 1s with this deck. Is like, Chalice was a good turn 1 play, but having Thalia as our follow-up was like kind of useful for a turn, and then they had a Walking Ballista, and then they had a second Walking Ballista. So it's pretty difficult to to beat Walking Ballista when we're just stuck on 2 lands because we mulled a 5. Alright, I think we want to name Ape with this so we can potentially cast Simian Spirit Guide, but what else could we name? Soldier's not very good. Cleric's not very good. I guess we just name it Spirit. If you name Ape, they know it's a Simian Spirit Guide, but if you name Spirit, they might think, I don't know, maybe it's something else. Phyrexia's Core, sure. 2 mana. Hangerback Walker. That's annoying. That's really annoying. I think before that gets any counters on it, we should probably kill it, but I guess we can wait till our turn to see if we draw Rest in Peace. Eldrazi Temple. Well, that's a horse of a different color. Kind of wish we killed it now, but we still have the backup double Wear Tear. And the beatdowns. Throne of Geth. Alright. So now they can get 3 Thopter tokens, potentially. Oh, Proliferate on Chalice. Shit. And now we can't cast Wear Tear. Wow. Oh, wow. That's pretty awkward. We also can't cast Rest in Peace or Stony Silence. Oh. Jeez. So wait, Wear Tear is 3 mana? Because of the combined amount? I don't actually know how that works. Oh, it gets countered. Alright, I didn't know that. I guess whichever side of it you cast gets countered. But them not being able to cast... that was a huge punt, obviously. I was just testing it to see how it works. But obviously it was a really, really, really bad play. They get to make a dude. They get to proliferate. Doesn't kill our... Reality Smasher. Unless they have something else. But they get 4 more little flyers. They pump Chalice up to 3. Well, they can Nature's Claim our Chalice if they want, I guess. Second animation module doesn't do a whole lot. Walking Ballista is definitely the card we need to take. So they do have the Ink Moth, which beats our Worship. Casting the Wear and Tear into the Chalice on 2 was really bad. And obviously full-on punished for doing that. But I don't know how much it's going to end up mattering. Whenever one or more... Yeah, they can't put a counter on any of their permanents currently. They can proliferate the poison counters, though. Which is pretty good. Their hand is just Nature's Claim. So they can gain 4 life at instant speed. I believe we're just bashing. Yeah, we got him there. That worked out pretty well. We're at 7, and they need a top deck here. Obviously, if we had another Wear Tear in hand, I'd feel way better about this game, and it was a big punt. I wasn't sure if the Fuse cards cost 3 total, and I think the converted mana cost of it does count as 3, but when you're casting it, it is a 2 mana spell on the stack, and that's why it's countered by Chalice. I believe that's what happened, and I figured that probably was what happened, but I knew that the converted mana cost was actually 3, or at least it was at some point in the rules changes, so I don't actually know what it's at now. I should know that, but Magic's a complicated game, and they changed that rule like 4 times in the last couple of years, so I'm not really sure where it's at right now. I know they fixed it so that, like, it doesn't... Yeah, I don't remember. It doesn't work with Boom Bust anymore, and casting like an 8 mana spell or something. I don't even remember what the combo was, but I remember Boom Bust being pretty strong. Wonder if my opponent said anything about my terrible play earlier. They're just gonna pump up the Ink Moth and try and get in there. They could also Pendlehaven the Ink Moth. The fact that they're attacking is interesting. I'm really confused about this. What did they draw? I guess they have Nature's Claim, so they're not just dead. Because they can claim an animation module or whatever. They didn't Pendlehaven it. Because they need the green mana for Nature's Claim, I guess. Yeah, we're just gonna attack. So we can't cast Worship, but Worship's not really gonna help us here anyway because, well, 1, they have a Nature's Claim, but they need to use the Nature's Claim to not die, and then 2, it costs 4, and Chalice is on 4. We're gonna put this Chalice on 2. Which is countered by our Chalice on 4. Obviously. I should have put it on 1. And they scoop anyway, though. All right, so we made a couple bad plays there, but ended up taking down the game 2. Worship does not seem very good. Their Throne of Geth stuff was pretty rough. So I think we want a Chalice on 1 and a Chalice on 2 if we can help it. Yeah, it doesn't seem like Decatli would be any good. It doesn't seem much like Hazaret would be better than Reality Smasher, since Trample is pretty important against all those little tokens. We're bringing back in the Caverns, taking out that Worship, and I think that's how we want to play it. Yeah, Animation Module working through Rest in Peace and Stony Silence is annoying, but we do have the 2 Wear Tears, and all our other cards are great. So I think we just keep all these things in. Just don't want Thalia in general, and don't want Arbiter in general. They're just like pretty mopey creatures, and even if multiple Rest in Pieces are going to be bad, I just don't think we want any of those 2/2s in more than we want just multiple Rest in Pieces. So this hand is medium. We have like Winds of Abandon, but we're definitely not keeping. Alright, this has Chalice and Wear Tear. So we're going to keep this one. I think I'm going to pitch Winds of Abandon. And probably bottom Thought Knots here. Or exile Thought Knots here, I mean. Could also exile Plains to the Gemstone Cavern, since we don't really need 3 mana. And then we could just draw a Temple and be able to cast Thought Knots here, which is a pretty big deal. We do kind of want some sort of pressure. So yeah, I guess I am going to keep Thought Knots here. We're going to dump the Winds and play this and pitch a Plains, I think. Because we need to draw more lands anyway. And this way we can cast Wear Tear, we can cast Chalice on 1, or we could just tear the Hardened Scales, which we might need to do. I guess we can both Wear and Tear next turn, which is pretty strong. Although, does the Tear get countered? I think it does, right? If we fuse it, it costs 3, right? You may cast 1 or both halves of this card. Then it becomes like a 3-mana spell that has 2 effects. I'm actually not sure. I'm going to look this up really quick. Chalice of the Void and Fuse. The CMC for split cards is their combined mana cost. In the case of Wear Tear, it would be 3. Okay. So we're going to cast Chalice on 1. And then next turn, probably we're going to fuse a Wear and Tear. Ooh, Welding Jar. Interesting. So I do want to get the Hardened Scales off the board. The Welding Jar is really annoying because it's going to just beat the Wear Tear. I think I'm going to lead with Displacer though. And they might have a Dismember for it, since they did not do anything on their turn. Maybe that was wrong. Maybe we're supposed to just get rid of the scales immediately. I'm a little worried. Looks like they just have a handful of 1-drops. Rest in peace. think we play Rest in Peace. Again, not in love with not killing the hardened scales here. They are going to dismember the displacer. Sure. I figured they had dismember. A little scared here. Definitely worried that our opponent is going to do something powerful. Alright. Nothing powerful here, just attacking with 2 ink moths. That's fine. We do have a ghost quarter to deal with them at some point. But we are at 3 poison. It's basically 14 life, if you're looking at it like that. Let's see what they're working with over there. Get one of those cards out of their hand, especially when they're tapped out. If there's another dismember, that'd be really good. It's just 2 cards they can't cast. Yeah, so their game plan is just ink moth us out. And hopefully they don't find anything good here. Going to 5 infect. We do have a ghost quarter. Feeling pretty good. So this puts them to 9, and then we can cast the Spirit Guide and hold up ghost quarter, which I guess makes sense. Make them use the welding jar. This cuts off our ability to just draw Reality Smasher next turn and kill them. So maybe that was wrong. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to just hold the Spirit Guide so that next turn we could draw Reality Smasher and just win, and this turn just Wear Tear the Hardened Scales and an Ink Moth, and then they just crack the welding jar. Yeah, I'm not super happy about that decision there, because that does cut off more of our top decks, and Reality Smasher off the top was lethal. They drew a Forest. And they're just going to pass the turn here. All right. Make them use a little bit more mana and just kill it now. They're just going to activate the other one. So now if they regenerate, it taps it, and they can't block. And they go to 3. And our whole deck is live here because we drew Temple. And they scooped. Alright, so we didn't play that great against Hardened Scales in Game 2, but I feel like we may have just made good decisions in Game 3. I don't know, but I'm super happy with this trophy. Yeah, pretty pumped on a 5-0 on the YouTube channel.